I think we could remark that there are numerous things that this election year is all about. And you see these people who list the pollsters, they list these things and they say these are the issues that are the most important to the American people. Some of the law and order issues weren't even on the map a couple of years ago, but are up at about number 5 right now. And with the direction we're going, could probably get to number 1 before we get to November, which I'm not complaining about in the sense that it favors my candidate. It's just a lot of people are going to get hurt in between. And some of those other issues that we're not going to hear so much about, but we probably should be hearing about, is this country's relationship with other rivals. I won't say enemies, but I'll say rivals. I'll give you a couple of examples. This coffee cup was a gift from some listeners, and it came along with some of the Black Rifle coffee. This benefits, it's a veterans-owned company, and it benefits several veterans' causes. But when the cup arrived, I looked on the bottom of it, and it had a label that said made in China. I guess they couldn't find any American-made cups. And then a few weeks back, I wanted a canteen for use in the studio. And I can occasionally, it keeps the water cold. I have another big water bottle, but this one is sort of the backup if you want a really cold swig of water during the course of a program. And there was a label affixed to the bottom, and it took a few washings before it came off. I got this on sale for about $6, but when the label came off, guess what? It says on the bottom, made in China. I'd tip it up and show you, but then I'd spill water all over the place, and that's not really a good idea. Some issues, they get a couple of days play, and then they go away as parties try to send up trial balloons. I think one of those is going to be the Postal Service. We've been hearing a lot of people say that Donald Trump wants to gut the Postal Service so he can swing the election in his direction because he doesn't like mail-in balloting. And I got to be honest with you, I've done a lot of mail-in balloting simply because I used to work election days, sometimes 12, 13, 14 hours on election day. Getting to the polls was difficult. So I would go to the Board of Elections, request an absentee ballot, fill it out, mail it back in, or just drop it off before election day. But in large numbers, the whole notion of spreading out an election over several days or weeks, really, I don't know. I'm always concerned that something big could break just after Halloween. And if you've already voted, you can't do anything about changing your vote. Now, I'm not one of those people who would be doing that. I've already made up my mind, and I'm not one of those fence sitters. Some of you may be. But when we talk about the Postal Service, the reason the Postal Service is in such trouble, people don't send as much mail as they used to. And after email took out most of the personal mail that you get, that really started, of course, in the middle of the 1990s. But then by the time we got through about another decade, we had what we called commercial mailings, and they were propping the Postal Service up. But the Postal Service has only about half the employees it had back in, say, 2007, which I was working there for that year. I know that much, or part of the year. I spent about a year at the Postal Service in between radio jobs. I was not what you'd call a union employee. I was what's called a casual. That means a temporary employee, and you can be fired just if somebody doesn't like your looks. But my experience working at a postal sorting plant is this, and I suppose it's this way in bureaucracies everywhere. 1/3 of the people seem to work very hard. Another third of the people seem to just go through the motions, especially if they'd been there for a lot of years. Certain jobs can just grind you down. And then there were 1/3 of the people who stood around just drinking coffee during their entire shifts and drawing a big paycheck. A supervisor would walk by and just shake his or her head, because if you wanted to pick a fight with that person, well, you got to deal with the union. And a lot of them didn't want to do that. They just wanted to get out of work themselves at the end of the day without any huge hassles. But there is still a lot of mail going out. In fact, I wanted to share just a couple of quick stories with you. I have a couple of subscriptions to what you might call political magazines, and they would be more conservative than they would be center. They're certainly not liberal. And I have been getting a lot of mail lately because I think somebody decided to share my address. So there's still a lot of mail going out. Check this one out. This came to me just a few days ago from a Dan Crenshaw. Well, Dan doesn't know me, but Dan, his picture is up there. He's in his uniform. And Dan is a very well-known veteran, Navy SEAL, and wounded in combat. He's not exactly what I'd call libertarian-style conservative. Some of his views I may not agree with, but he is considered an American hero, and he's done a lot to prove that, including giving a part of his sight in order to defend his country, to do the right thing. So that came in the mail just a few days ago. Then I got this in the mail as well. Again, I don't think that guy knows me either. I'm looking over here to make sure you can read it. And, but both of them are saying, please send money. This is the address for the Republican National Committee. You could write your check and send it here, or give us your card number and we'll just affix it to your credit card or your debit card or however you want to do business. Oh, and then there's this one that came. This came just a couple of days ago. The Cato Institute is a libertarian think tank that's located in Washington, and does some really superb work. They have a magazine they publish too as well, which I do read online, but I'm limited, I believe, to a number of stories per month, which is okay. It's fair. A lot of people have gotten used to that. They think news should be free. I go back to an era before the internet when you paid a subscription if you wanted to get something to read, a magazine or a paper, just like buying a book. You could listen to the radio for free, but you still had to listen to commercials, which pay for your programming. Those things all obviously are very, very important. And then this came in. I just pulled this out of the mailbox today, this morning, in fact. Hadn't been in the mailbox yesterday, so I stopped in this morning. And from First Things, Institute on Religion and Public Life. So there's a lot of mail still going around, and it looks as if we get toward November. If your name is already on a list, that list is going to be sold because somebody's going to profit from already having your name. And I have given money to political campaigns as well. So yes, this has been going on. I really started to get involved in politics more heavily about the year 2000. And I started sending money off to various candidates and causes. And ever since then, I have been getting a great deal of mail. But just in the last few days, this is quite an impressive haul. And I'm sure there'll be more as we get past Labor Day and we head toward the election. Hey, gotta run. I just wanted to share some of those thoughts with you this morning. Remember, check out our website. Well, I'm not going to say website quite yet. It's a work in progress, but we have a Facebook page up called Boardwalk Potatoes. And we have a number of videos there on various issues from movie reviews to beer reviews to political thoughts. My partner and I, Jake Smith, you can tune in and see some of his work too. And we do a joint program about once a week. And if you have any suggestions or comments, feel free to leave those in the comments section below.